Okay, hello everyone. This is my last delivery of Marjane Satrapi's book, which is called Persepolis. Just for starting, I'll talk about a little bit about Marjane's biography. Marjane was born in 1969 in Rasht, Iran. She grew up in Tehran, where she studied at the Lycée Français before leaving for Vienna, and then going to Strasbourg to study illustration. She currently is living in Paris, where she is at work on the sequel to Persepolis and where her illustrations appear regularly in newspapers and magazines. She is also the author of several children's books. Considerably, Persepolis is one of her more important books because it's an autobiography and tells everything Marjane had to suffer during the war. So it is a very interesting book. I really recommend to everyone to read it. And here we go through a little bit of the plot, main characters, and conflicts that took place in this beautiful book. Main characters. There are a lot of characters in the book, but for me, these are the more important, and everything goes around her family. Her grandmother, her mother, her father, her maid, and her uncle. This is a very important character. You will see why, and you already saw on my last videos. And these two guys who are right here, that were some friends of the family that inspired Marjane to go through the regiment and to fight against this. Here we go. The main plot of this is, okay, this is a history that takes place in Iran. Marjane was born in a family that had money and that had a little open mind. They were Islamic, but they were not that fundamentally. So they didn't understand what war was taking place. So everything began in 1979 when the revolution took place, the Islamic Revolution. Marjane was a very intelligent woman and very intelligent girl, and God also took a really important place on her life. Here we see that Marjane was different to everyone. She began using the veil, but she was really different to everyone. Here we see her family, that is really important to her, and here we can see God talking with Marjane. The war revolution was something that changed Marjane's life forever. She had to leave everything according to the war and her family, and they didn't agree with that. They were really sad because they didn't know what happened with the country. So here we can see that Marjane's family is all what turns around of this history. Her uncle, that inspired her a lot, because, well, we can see around story that she was trying to look for some inspiration to fight the regime, and she found that inspiration on her uncle. Her uncle was killed, and we'll see that was one of the main conflicts that Marjane had to suffer from. On this history, in this image, we can see Marjane's family like in a context that it doesn't appear in the book, but I found out on the internet, and is like an image that showed that they were against the regime. Main conflicts that happens in this book is the war between Iraq and Iran. It happens that Iran is like most other Middle Eastern countries, is located where there is a vast amount of oil reserve. This is like the main conflict that there were between Iran and Iran. There were also religious conflicts and, well, a lot of stuff that made these two countries go into a war. Here we can see an image of Marjane that is being sad about the conflict, and she does not understand why this conflict has happened. Okay, one of the main things that took place in Marjane's life was that she had to use a veil. With this veil began everything, because she didn't know why. I mean, for her, and everything that happens on this book is a fight of Marjane against her regiment, but especially trying to preserve women's rights. I mean, not only women, but women were like the focus of Marjane. Like, why as women we have to be banned, we have to use veil, we cannot talk with guys. So this is like the, I don't know how to say it, this explodes all Marjane's potential against this regime. Another thing that really gets Marjane, that really changed Marjane's life, is the murder of her uncle. Her uncle was, as we already said, a very big inspiration for Marjane, and he was killed by the regime because he thought different to everyone. Here we see a very important part of this history is when she said that with this first cigarette I kissed Shell goodbye. Now I was a grown up. this is like a way to show her family, to show everything, to show the country that she has changed, that she's against everything, that she can be free. I mean, it was something, we can say that it was something stupid, but it was something that really, really changed her life. Like, now I'm not anymore, and now I'll change my life. This is also a very good image that called my attention on the book. It was when Marjane's parents were able to leave the country. They took Marjane a lot of clothes from Iron Maiden and Kim Wilde and Michael Jackson post, and she said like, okay, this is the life I really want, this is what I really think about. It's important to say that one of her uncles were also killed because he didn't have the passport to leave the country, so that really marked her life also. So there were a lot of people who were killed on the history, a lot of Marjane's family that marked her life. And this is so important because she had a lot of loss on her life, and she posted this on this book to show us how bad war is, so how people suffer in war, but she was able to keep on with her life, and now she is where she is. This is an image just for the end that shows when Marjane had to leave country. Her parents sent her to Vienna because all the violence when the frontiers were reopened. And this was, she says, one of the saddest moments of her life, but one of the moments that took her potential up and that made Marjane be the woman she is right now and fight against the regime as she did. So this is very beautiful. And this, just to the end, is a very beautiful sentence that says that one can forgive, but one should never be forget. This is from the book. It is really beautiful because this book shows us reality of war, reality of thousands of people who suffer from it. So I really suggest everyone to read this book, to understand it, and most of reading it is to do a little change on our minds, because we are meant to repeat this history if we don't understand it, we don't see that war is really, really bad for people and for the world. Thanks everyone, and I hope you have enjoyed, and well, this was my last video. Thank you very much.